Prime Minister Mark Carney is on his way to China, but first stopped in Prince Rupert, British Columbia to meet coastal First Nations, still aggrieved over the federal government's support for an oil pipeline from Alberta to the BC coast.
It's very much, the dialogue is to understand, but it's also what we're for, the common part, and that's part of a true dialogue is working through things and determining where we can move forward together, very much in conservation as well as economic opportunity.
In November, Carney signed a pipeline agreement with Alberta. Coastal First Nations say any such pipeline would cut through land they hold rights to and say they weren't consulted.
We felt that it was a good meeting. It was positive. We had our message that was very clear and consistent.
Marilyn Slett underlines her community is still opposed to a pipeline and lifting the North Coast tanker ban. Coastal First Nations also emphasized to the Prime Minister the $3 billion North Coast economy relies on a healthy ocean, and there's no price or incentives they could be offered to approve a pipeline.
You heard us loud and clear. Yeah, that's a no, and this, our interest isn't about money in this situation. It's about the responsibility of looking after our territories and, again, nurturing the sustainable economies that we currently have here.
But some say there are other options. Simon Fraser University's Thomas Gunton says existing pipelines aren't being fully used, and expanding them even further would be cheaper than a whole new pipeline.
The Trans Mountain Pipeline has the potential to expand capacity right now by over 360,000 barrels, and it's also not being fully utilized. And so you add that together, the empty space on it now, but plus the potential expansion capacity in Trans Mountain can meet almost all of Alberta's needs.
Coastal First Nations added they consider this meeting a first step and expect more engagement going forward. Carney now goes to China for a 4-day trip aimed at rebuilding the diplomatic and economic relationship there. In Ottawa, Shally Lee, City News.